Hi, Henny, how are you? It's Teknikolour. I have another exciting build to show today, and this one is actually inspired by New York City apartment building, and I built it in Windenburg. So let's check it out. Here is the apartment building that I built in Windenburg, and this was a lot of fun to make, and it started out using not that many packs, and then I used a lot. You'll see once we get inside, but this is the exterior. You have this lovely front, and then over here on the side is actually another entrance, and this is for the building superintendent. What's also really cool about this build is in the back is kind of like a little backyard, and it's got this like green space at the top there. I just really went all out with this build, and I had so much fun doing it. When you enter the building through the front doors, you actually have the mailboxes over here on the left, and then on the right is just a little seating area, and we've got this lovely floral arrangement in the center. And you can see that there are 2 apartments over there on the right and 2 apartments over here on the left. We're actually going to start here on the leftmost apartment because this is the building superintendents, and they live here and they basically take care of the building. They have a little bathroom over here, and they've got a little office space. They have this cute little nook for their bedroom. And then they also have their sort of living room space over here. And then, of course, they can get in and out right here through that other entrance. The other apartment on the right side of the building is actually a studio apartment. And you come in here and there's a mirror and there's some art, there's some bookshelves. There is the living room right over here. And then just tucked in the corner is a cute little kitchen. We've got a desk, we've got a bed, and then through here is a cute little bathroom. Traveling to the other side of the building, going through this first apartment over here, you come directly into the kitchen. And it's small, and there are windows at the top here just to let in a little bit more light because there's really only these 2 windows here. But we've got a desk. We've got a little living space. We've got some record players. And then you come in here and here is the bedroom. So it's small, but you know, it's mighty. And then through here is the bathroom. And it's nothing special, but you know, it's a small apartment. Somebody's got to live there, you know. And then once you come through this other door, you have the cat lover's apartment. And I had so much fun building this one specifically because I knew that I wanted it to be a smaller apartment. I wanted there to be kind of just like this hallway kitchen. You come down here, the fridge is tucked in this little corner, and obviously you have the cat lover with the cat TV, and everything is just here for them. And then through this door over here is just a cute little bathroom using some of the cats and dogs items. And then their bedroom is right off of the front door. And it is bold. There's a lot happening in here, but it just felt right. It just felt right when I was building this. I was like, I want there to be big, bold wallpaper. I want the bed to have a lot of like texture. And I wanted to use this new floral storage dresser. I knew that I wanted to use a little bit of this stuff and kind of like mesh it in to one of my favorite Sims in my legacy challenge. So there's a Sim, Luella. My Twitch viewers are like, okay, we get it, Luella. But this kind of borrows a lot from her style. But this is just a little bit extra. Back in the lobby, you can actually come up these stairs over here. And what I really love about the second floor is that there is this hallway and you can get to these 2 apartments, but you can also overlook this courtyard. You can't actually get onto this, but there are plans here, and then downstairs you can see is the little courtyard. So down here, we've got some picnic tables, we have some hopscotch, some marbles, and it's just a place that the inhabitants can just all just hang out together if they want to. This apartment over on the left is actually kind of goth inspired, and I wanted there to be this nice little living room. And then you come on over here, and here is Grandma's wing. So she's not really part of the goth family right now, but you know, there's room for her. And then over in this door is actually the main family. You know, they have a baby on the way. You know, it makes sense. It makes sense, okay? And then there is this dark bathroom over here. And then through this door outside off the living room is the family bathroom. But then you turn the corner after you come in the front door, and there is this kitchen. It's a little odd. It's a little odd because it's kind of like a little galley kitchen. It's just a hallway. But then you turn down here, and here is a little nook for a dining table. And I just think it's really cute. It's a really nice use of the space. I really struggled when I was building this because this spot on both apartments is kind of like a mirror of itself. And I was going to have this become the entryway on both, but it felt really odd to have the front doors for each of these apartments right next to each other and in the center. So it made more sense for them to be on the ends. So you'll see what I did with both of these apartments and let me know what you think. So you can see right here, it's this spot right here that's like in between the 2 staircases. And over here, obviously, is the dining room, but the front door is over here. And I think it works. I don't know that it's what I was originally envisioning when I set out to make this build. But I knew that these upper apartments were going to be a little bit larger, and these are not just like 1 bedroom. So I tried to use the space as best as I could. This apartment over here, however, is kind of like the apartment that I would expect you to live in. So I have it over here. So there's a bunch of like family photo frames that you get from the reunions, and it's kind of set up in a way that your sim can move in here, and this is the apartment that you would likely be using if you were to download this lot. Obviously, you can live in any of the apartments, but this is kind of the one that I was envisioning that most people would use and rent out the other ones using for rent. You could make this into a residential rental, but you have this desk over here on the side, and then you have this little living area. There's some games in the cabinet here. I wanted this to be a very happy, calm family, very muted colors. And then over here we have this little dining area, and it's right off of the kitchen. So it's kind of a big apartment. It really fits in, and it really has that sense of like openness and apartment living, but not crowded. Like my apartment. You come in through this door, and this is actually the family bathroom. As you can tell, I am loving the new bathroom kit. And then if you were to take a right off of the front door, you have 2 doors over here. And on the left, of course, is the primary bedroom. And I wanted this to be very calm and very serene. And I chose a lot of green and sort of like pinks and yellows for this build, which was not really what I was expecting, but I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. I wanted these walls to be a little bit more bare in this apartment because I wanted you to envision this space as a place for your Sims. So that's why, like, there's not much on the walls. And then this, of course, is the primary bathroom. So it's just got a little shower. But you go down here, and through that other door is actually where the dining room is in the other apartment on this floor. But this is actually kind of like a teenager's bedroom. And I wanted this teen to be very different from their parents, but also have some of the same color schemes and vibes. So I wanted there to be kind of a little bit of like that teen rebelliousness, that angst. But I wanted there to be those like pinks, those yellows, those greens. So very calm, serene colors in here. But, you know, they're maybe like longing for something else, like not quite city living. And this is just what they do. They are very artsy, and it is just their bedroom. They're an artist. I have to say, though, I love the views out of this apartment. I think that just having an apartment like this that basically wraps around, you have so many windows that give you so much light, and you get to see so much. However, like this back window, you're not seeing too much because there's like a hill behind this lot. But what I really like is down here. Like, if you were to expect that, like, you would have, like, toddlers here, or, like, maybe not a teen, maybe you're, like, gonna grow into this unit. What's really cool is, like, you can see down into the courtyard below, and maybe there's, like, other Sims here. So your Sim can make friends with the other residents in this building. And then what I really liked from the other apartment is that it does the same thing. Obviously, there's not as many windows on this side that really look down. You can really only see it from the bathroom here. You can see out through the front over here. And downstairs, you still get those beautiful views, but being on that lower level, you also get to see like the flowers that wrap around the building, which honestly, I had such a good time building this and doing the landscaping, because it's really not the kind of build that I would normally do, but I have been just so inspired by going on walks around my neighborhood and just in the city in general, and just going and seeing the landscaping that is just immaculate in these New York City apartment buildings. And I feel like a lot of people just see New York City as like Friends or like Will and Grace or any of these TV shows that are like set in these areas, but don't necessarily have that charm of like some of the other boroughs that might not necessarily be Manhattan, or are just kind of off the beaten path and older and just not quite as like modern and like high rise. And that is just the kind of energy that I was just going for with this build. And I have to say, I'm so proud of this build, because I want to build in Windenburg so often, and I always feel like I never know what fits here. Obviously, you can see over here on the left, I tried to build something modern, and I kind of feel like it's an eyesore here, so we're gonna turn the camera. But this, I don't know, I just had so much fun working on this. I actually started working on another build when I got home from my vacation. That's a little bit more, you know, Sweden and Denmark kind of inspired, so I could talk to you a little bit more about, you know, my trip. But this is a build that I started working on before my vacation, and then came back, and I just needed to work on it some more. So I really hope you like this. If you would like to grab this off the gallery, you can download it. My username is just Teknikolour. And of course, if you liked this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. But I will catch you next week. Bye-bye.